All right, Financial Literacy Lecture 7.8. The first problem that we're going to work from the book is on page 316. Make sure you take these notes for your notebook. This section is entitled Real Estate. It's really mostly about rental real estate. 7.8.1, net income. So net income is equal to rental income minus expenses. So there's not just a ton of words we have to write in this section. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to write this down, and then we'll work example B on page 316. All right, let me put the book into view here. So example B says, Melvin Weisbaum bought a house and a lot in a resort area for $288,000. He paid $72,000 in cash and got a mortgage for the rest. He rented the house to a tenant for $3,800 a month. For the first year, Melvin's expenses were mortgage interest, $19,200, 3% depreciation on the house, valued at $198,000. Taxes, repairs, insurance, and other expenses were $15,750. What was his net income for the year? So basically, you've just got to, the math isn't hard, you just have to wade through it. And there's nowhere that you use in this problem the $288,000, what he bought the house for, or the $72,000 in mortgage, or excuse me, in cash. Really, it's all about the expenses and the income here. So the problem did give us some extra information. So his rental income is going to be the $3,800. All right, so that's pretty expensive, at least for around here. $3,800 a month, and then times 12 months. All right, that'll be $45,600. All right, his expenses so we have interest of $19,200. All right, so I'm just going to label that INT for interest. We have depreciation. So it says the house is worth $198,000. So you don't use the $288,000. A lot of that is the value of the land. So the land won't depreciate. And that is 3% a year, so times 0.03. Plus it said the other expenses are $15,750. So when you add those up, you will get $40,890. So the net income is you just subtract the rental income, 45,000, or subtract the expenses from the rental income. So minus 4890. All right, and that'll be $4,710. Okay, so I wanted to put a note here at the bottom. It's what I talked about, but let's go ahead and put it in your notes that you don't include the price of the property or down payment as an expense. Now we will use the down payment in some future problems, okay, in this section, it's called, that is a capital investment, the down payment is. But when you're just doing your annual expenses, you don't include the down payment or the price of the property. So that's extraneous information. Okay, pause the video if you need to, and we'll move on to 7.8.2. All right, that is rate of return. And we do have a formula here. So rate of return is equal to the annual net income divided by the cash investment. So this is something you'll just have to memorize. Times 100. All right, so that's the annual. You're just trying to figure out, okay, on a percent basis, how much did I make that year on this property? And you just, add up all the cash that you had to utilize, and then the annual net income, and you'll get a percent, and you can see how well that you've done. A capital investment and this cash investment, you could also call it a capital investment. That's another word for cash investment. It doesn't include the money that the bank or that a lending agency put into. So what you borrowed, they're the ones taking the risk. So the capital investment is cash spent on down payment so you had to pay that down payment out of your pocket. All right, the bank didn't pay for that. So cash spent on down payment plus repairs or upgrades when property is purchased. So sometimes, you watch those shows, if anyone of you ever watch those shows on HGTV, and they buy a property and then they have to really put a lot of money to upgrade it. That would be part of the capital investment. At least the cash part of it. So it doesn't include, this part's really important, the loan amount. Remember, that's not cash that you took out of your pocket. Okay, let's look at example C. I think this will help explain it on page 317. Okay, that says Talibu Mbasa bought a house with a $25,000 down payment. He added a basement room and a bath for $14,600. He spent $2,600 to paint the exterior, $2,300 to repair the plumbing. What is Talibu's capital investment in the house? All right, so we're just going to add them all up. All right, we've got the $25,000 down payment. Now, he had to pay that out of his pocket. That's not paid for by the bank. And then $14,600, right? He spent that much adding a basement room and a bath. What's expensive to renovate a house, isn't it? And then $2,600 to paint. It seems like a pretty good deal. And then $2,300 to repair the plumbing. So the capital investment, which you would use in that's what you put in the denominator if you were trying to figure out the rate of return. The capital investment is 39,600. All right, we're also gonna do example D, but go ahead and pause if you need to because I'm going to erase and give myself a little more room there. Okay, example D. And this is on page 317. So we'll read through that. These problems are a little longish in terms of verbiage. Ida Silvers purchased a cottage and a lot for $85,000, paying $17,000 down. So we don't care about the $85,000. $17,000 down, using a mortgage for the rest. The lot is estimated to be worth $5,000. Okay, she added a room by remodeling the attic for $12,600. She estimates that she will be able to rent the cottage for $1,200 a month. Her annual expenses will be $5,400, mortgage interest 2.5%, depreciation on the cottage and its capital improvements, and $4,800 in other expenses. What is Ida's estimated return on her investment to the nearest 0.1%? Okay, so we have to figure out what is the cash investment. Okay, so first of all, she had to pay $17,000 down. So it's the $17,000 down payment. I'm just going to go ahead and put a DP there. And then she had to add a room for $12,600. So that's renovation. So together you have $29,600 that she had to put out of her own pocket. Doesn't count what she borrowed. All right, she has a rental income. So she is able to rent it for $1,200 a month. And then, of course, that'd be 12 months. That's $14,400 a year. And then she has some expenses. Okay, so to get that annual net income on the top, I have to subtract out all the expenses from the rental income. So she has $5,400 in mortgage interest. Okay, so that's just from the problem, so we'll just put interest. She has depreciation on the property. Now this is where you have to be careful. You don't get to depreciate the lot. So she paid $85,000 for the house, but it's going to be $80,000. So this is the hardest part of this problem. $80,000 because we subtract the lot, plus she added $12,600 in improvements. So that, if you will look at the problem, it says the depreciation on the cottage and its capital improvements. So this is the cottage. This would be the easiest part to mess up. And capital improvements. And that depreciation is at 0.025. Plus $4,800. And that's other. So her annual expenses add up to $12,515. Okay, so that part would be easy to mess up. But just be careful. If you read it, you'll know what to put in. Okay, so now we need to get her rate of return. and we're going to use the formula right up here. The annual net income is the rental income, $14,400, minus the expenses, $12,515. You divide that by the total cash or capital investment of $29,600 times 100. And that is 6.4%. All right, now that's the math of it. I don't think I would not, 6.4% to me isn't enough to make the investment. The stock market historically, over a long period of time, returns 10%. That's not every year, but over a long period. So if you're in it for the long haul, I would want a real estate investment to return more than 10%, because it's not very much work to just put money in the stock market. And there's a lot of work that goes on here, a lot of time. I'd probably want my real estate to return 15 to 20% to make it worth that time. Okay, but that's that's a matter of opinion. All right, we've got just a little more to do and we'll be done with this lecture. Pause if you need to. Seven 7.8.3 is determining the rental charge. All right, so how much I own a real estate, I own a house or a condo or something I want to rent out, house at the lake, that'd be pretty cool. How much do I charge for rent? Well, there's a formula we're going to use, that monthly rent. So this is, to me, some of the most interesting stuff in the entire book, really practical, is the desired net income plus expenses. So we've got the money we want to make, but you also have to cover your expenses. And how many months are in a year? 12. So just divide it by the 12 months in the year. All right, let's look at example E. This will be the last one. I know you always love to hear that. I love to hear it too. So example E. Let's see if I can get that into view. So we have Sid Weisbaum bought a vacant warehouse with $24,000 down payment. He estimates that expenses will be $86.40 the first year. Sid wants to earn a rate of income of 8% on his investment. To do that, what monthly rent must he charge? All right, so his investment, so the monthly rent, we're going to use this formula. All right, so kind of messed it up with the book there. His investment is the $24,000. Now he may have borrowed money, more money than that, but what came out of his pocket was $24,000. So that's what his investment is. He wants to earn 8% on that investment. Okay, so his expenses, so that's what he wants to earn. Plus he has to add the expenses in so that the rent will cover that. His expenses are $8,640. All right, over 12. So you put that in the old calculator and you get $880 a month. All right, so that does it for the 7.8 lecture. The homework is on page 318. That's where it starts. And you need to do 9, 11, 13, 14, 15 through 23 odd, 24, 25, 27, 29, 30, and 33. So that's a total of 15 problems. I will post the answers to the even ones on Microsoft Teams right after the due time. Okay, so just check Microsoft Teams for the due date for the 7.8 and let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you next video.